The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Guys, we got a trade to announce, baby. Woo! ECHL forward for Maatta. No?
Shit.
No, we're not excited.
No, I tried.
Yeah, I know. Listen, Maatta is traded. Can I ask?
Retain salary, Maatta.
Yeah.
I
know. The thing is, too, I was like, why did the Kings want Maatta? Because they didn't really get anything like, if you're the Kings and you want to, I don't think you want to weaponize cap space. Do they just need warm bodies at this point? Because, and somebody tweeted me this. They're like, well, maybe Maatta can rediscover the form that made him a potential top 4 defenseman in the league. And it's like, he's 26. No,
I mean,
he is what he is. He's slow. He's not going to be a top 4 guy in this league. He's just not. Maybe on the Kings.
I mean, yeah, he would look fast. Maybe they're like, well, we got faster just by comparison.
He's the only guy who's not under contract till he's 46 on the Kings too, which is good.
Yeah.
So, can I tell you guys what's going to happen here?
What's going to happen?
What's going to happen?
The Kings, they're drafting 2nd overall, right?
Yeah.
They made this trade.
Yeah, I forgot that.
I believe so. It's 2nd or 3rd. I think it's 2nd. They made this trade that nobody really knows what the hell's going on. Next season, the Kings are going to come out and they're going to make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. That's what always happens. We're going to underrate this team, and then they're going to somehow overachieve and make the playoffs.
Well, Jesse, the Blackhawks, like idiots. The Blackhawks made the playoffs, so
yeah, and they won a round.
You.
I mean, they definitely deserve to.
Does it mean they won a round?
No. They didn't want to play in. They didn't win the round.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they went on. The way I look at the play-ins is that did you go on a hot streak or a cold streak for the last 12 games of the season? Right?
Which is why the Islanders making it to the 3rd round is crazy. They were the worst team in the National Hockey League, basically, heading in to the, maybe barring Detroit, and they made it all the way to, what was it, Game 6?
Yeah, they did great. They did great.
Crazy.
Now, I do want to say the reason I bring up Maatta right off the top, because frankly, it is sort of a transaction, but we're so starved for transaction. We've got a ton of rumors to get through today, and all of this shit by next Friday could be completely irrelevant and stupid. But this is the fun part, right? This is where the excitement starts to ramp up, and I really felt it when I woke up today. Looked online, a lot of chatter, a lot of rumblings. A lot of whispers,
banter.
Now, the one thing, though, that I absolutely love, and I follow these guys on Twitter, is Blackhawk Up. They're a really great blog, but also it gave me a different perspective on some things that happened today. So who is angriest about the Robin Lehner contract?
Ooh.
Who is angriest about the Robin Lehner contract?
Some other goalie in the National Hockey League.
Marc-Andre Fleury. No, Alan Walsh.
No. The angriest people about the Blackhawks trade are about the Lehner contract are Blackhawks fans. They are pissed. And in a post today, I'm going to read you just the title from Blackhawk Up. Robin Lehner's contract shows Stan Bowman's incompetency.
Ooh.
So they're thrilled. Because here's the thing. We all love Corey Crawford. Good guy. I've always given him a hard time on the show because Blackhawks fans can take it. But frankly, Corey Crawford's been amazing and has had a great career. If he were to hang him up tomorrow, I mean, he's a 3-time Stanley Cup winning goaltender. There's a chance that he gets votes for the Hall of Fame, right? That's not unfair. He could be right up there.
He's on the periphery of that conversation now, but he's there.
He's within sniffing distance, I would say.
There you go.
Just because he's had, and you could debate me all you want on this, and I really don't care about that debate because the Hall of Fame, I honestly don't give a shit. But I don't care. Like, just put him in. Good. If they were great, put him in. The thing that's interesting, though, is the Blackhawks had an opportunity to solve the most important position in the sport and solve it for a relatively low cost. Robin Lehner,
in a long time,
is one of the best goalies in the National Hockey League right now. And all Chicago had to do was pony up $25 million over the next 5 years. That's not crazy.
Not for them.
They could do that. And they could move out. It would be, even if they had to move other deals around, we'll move them because Robin Lehner's worth it. However, it seems as though they wanted to move him for nuts and bolts at the trade deadline. And it's really, it's one of those things where, sometimes when you see bad teams signing players to one-year contracts like the Leafs did, and then moving them, like Daniel Winnick and that sort of thing. Right. Daniel Winnick got the Leafs a couple second-rounders, if I remember correctly.
I think he might have got them. They
signed him, traded him, signed him again, traded him. Like it was.
Yeah, they did that with him and with Roman Polak. They kept milking the Daniel Winnick and Roman Polak cow.
And they did a great job with that.
Let me find it.
I don't blame the Hawks for using that strategy. However, when you saw Robin Lehner play with Chicago, if you're Stan Bowman, it's like, well, there's my one. They already have a top line center. They have a couple of great. They've got the Calder Trophy winning forward, Kubalik. You've got Patrick Kane. You've got DeBrincat. You've got players on that team that could really turn this into a team. Duncan Keith still is there and playing pretty well. And you know what? Frankly, given what Duncan Keith makes, I don't hate him at $5 million.
No.
But the length of the contract sucks. But we don't need to get into that. There's a team there, but you need to solidify your goaltending. The Chicago Blackhawks had a chance to do that. They might even have been able to do it for less because remember, Robin Lehner signed this contract after going 3 rounds.
Right. Oh, man, the Blackhawks are a big bucket of what the hell are you?
Yeah.
It's not a good way to be. What are you other than an older version of the former Blackhawks? Because you keep acquiring older players. It's a great signing for Vegas. And the only thing is with so many goalies available, it's very obvious. The one thing is from a trade standpoint, it's very obvious what the Vegas Golden Knights are trying to do. If you're a trade partner with them, they have to get rid of Marc-Andre Fleury. And there's so many other goalies available. Well, how do they do that? How do you, in this economy, with the pandemic, with the flat cap, with no one has any money, how do you get rid of Marc-Andre Fleury's contract?
I don't know. They're going to have to retain. They have to retain. They
could retain, or I got bad news for Marc-Andre Fleury. This might be their goaltending for at least the next year.
Do you buy him out?
Hell no. Hell no. What? I'm not going to pay you to not play. I'll pay you to sit on the bench.
Okay.
Like his attitude and agent might force the Vegas Golden Knights' hand here, but he might just be Robin Lehner's backup.
Well, Chris Johnson said yesterday, and Chris Johnson, Dave Amber, and Elliot Friedman had a really good video on sportsnet.ca. I highly recommend you check out. I've pulled some of the prep from the show from that video.
Doubtful.
But Chris seems to think that Marc-Andre Fleury has played his last game in Vegas. The question is where and how and when. So he thinks he's gone this offseason, but crazier things have happened, obviously, right?
Right.
Given what Vegas wants to do this year, especially in going out and getting Alex Pietrangelo, it behooves them to move that contract. But what does it behoove? Okay, let me ask you this, and this sounds crazy. What if to get a team to take Marc-Andre Fleury, which is so strange to say, you do what Vegas did to Pittsburgh when they had to take Marc-Andre Fleury? Remember in the fantasy draft or the expansion draft? I like to call it the fantasy draft.
So you're giving Seattle picks? Maybe
you don't give Seattle picks. Maybe you give another team. Wasn't it a first-round pick that they got just to take? So second. Yeah. So if you threw in a second and Marc-Andre Fleury, a lot of teams are going to go, okay, because he's still a very good goaltender. And it's a couple years left on the contract. Maybe it's not a second anymore. Maybe it's Vegas's first. But if Vegas can lock up Alex Pietrangelo, I think that's a trade they make.
What is Vegas? Everyone's the Leafs are in on everything. Like Vegas is in on everything.
Everything. And here's the thing with them. The only person they've swung and missed on was Erik Karlsson. They got Max Pacioretty. They got Mark Stone. They got Paul Stastny, although I think maybe now they wish they hadn't. He's been okay, but it's just the money is a little bit expensive.
Right.
I wonder about that with Vegas. I feel like, they are in 100% win now mode. So if you're not really worried about your first round pick, it's going to be a low round pick anyway. Why not flip it to a team that will take on that deal?
Can I do a little sidebar for you, Adam?
Sure, yeah.
So I finally found all the milk jugs from the Daniel Winnick trades.
Let's go.
So the Leafs, for Daniel Winnick the first time, sent him to the Pittsburgh Penguins for, remember Zach Sill?
Yes.
Zach Sill, a 2015 fourth and a 2016 second. The following year, almost on the same date, a year and 3 days later, they sent Daniel Winnick and a 2016 fifth rounder to the Washington Capitals for Brooks Like.
Oh, God.
Connor Carrick, who played for a while, and then they flipped him, got a seventh rounder for him, and a 2016 second. So they got 2 seconds and a fourth, and a few years of service out of Connor Carrick for Daniel Winnick. Now, what else did they get? So the 2016 second they got from Pittsburgh, they didn't end up holding on to. That went back to the Pittsburgh Penguins in the Phil Kessel deal. The fourth rounder that they got from Pittsburgh, they didn't hold on to. They traded for a defenseman who's been on the team for many a year, Martin Marincin.
Oh, my God. Wow, that's a lot of moving parts from that.
And the 2016 second they got from the Caps, Carl Grundstrom, who they moved to the LA Kings in exchange for Jake Muzzin,
which was a good move.
So there's quite a lot there. Now, Adam, it's funny. You keep mentioning how the Chicago Blackhawks look like idiots. They look like losers in this whole deal.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow, they're not the team that looks the worst.
What do we have?
From Sin Bin Vegas,
Okay.
They quoted Robin Leonard, who had some comments afterwards. Teams that don't win, goalies and coaches get a majority of the blame. And that's Robin Leonard on why he didn't stick in Chicago. That's according to Sin Bin Vegas.
Say that one more time. Give me that one more time.
Teams that don't win, goalies and coaches get a majority of the blame.
That's true.
Yeah.
It is true. And I mean, what an indictment of the Chicago Blackhawks. Except here, let me just read the replies. Oh, here's one from Robin Leonard, is it? That was Buffalo.
Oh.
Is
that from his Twitter account?
That is from his verified Twitter account.
Wow, that's fun.
Well done, Robin. I'm going to follow him.
Wow.
Holy smokes.
Did you just say you were going to call him?
No, I'm going to follow him. I don't care.
Oh, follow him. You know what? I'm going to follow him. I don't know if I do.
I love his story. What a story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh,
the negotiations with Chicago, according to Mark Lazarus, at the time, they tried to sign him, but they didn't go well. I don't know who was asking for too much, because at the time, okay, Robin Leonard's this comeback story, but he wasn't 3 rounds deep in the playoff, Robin Leonard.
But he was last year with the Islanders.
He was with the Islanders, but they had Corey Crawford going with them in a bad defense, and he was still, like, I understand where Bowman comes from in terms of just, hey, we're not going to give all this money to this guy we're a little unsure of.
I bet the sticking point was the 5th year.
Yeah.
I bet it wasn't money.
Yeah.
$5 million for a starting goaltender is pretty good. I think it's the 5th year. And I think Vegas, to be fair, Robin is in his 30s. Vegas could hurt on the 3rd year as well, but Vegas is in win now mode. Yes. And I'm just saying, my point is, and Jesse, I think you're 100% right. I just think if Chicago wants to jump back in, they're going to need solid goaltending. And Corey Crawford, for as solid as he's been for as long as he's been that way, there are questions about his injury. There are injuries. There are questions about whether or not he can handle the same workload, which he absolutely cannot, and it's not fair to put him in that position. So what Chicago now has to go do is find another guy to play 40 games with him, which you're already playing.
That's tough.
You're paying him. If I was Chicago, if I'm Stan Bowman, I look at Florida and I go, you've got $10 million in one goaltender. If I have Corey Crawford and Robin Leonard for like $11 million, I'm happy. For one Patrick Kane contract. That's pretty good, right?
Yeah. It's also Corey Crawford is a UFA, correct?
Is he?
Yeah. So who knows? Corey Crawford might not be the goalie of the Chicago Blackhawks next season.
Right. So now you got to replace 2.
They could just go out and get one starter and then maybe call in D'Elia as their backup. You
have Malcolm Subban.
They have Malcolm Subban as well. Maybe it's just one goal. Maybe they let Corey Crawford walk, and it's just one guy they go after.
Is Malcolm Subban, and I don't know this, is Malcolm Subban going to be a regular guy, or is he a 1A option, or is he a 20-game guy, a 30-game guy? What is he?
I looked it up, man. So here's his career so far. We won't count the Bruins. He played 2 games. Yeah. Vegas Golden Knights in 2017-18 in 22 games, a 9-10. That's good. In 21 games the following season, a 9.02, less good. In 20 games this past season, 8.90, even worse.
Wow.
And he played like part of one game with the Blackhawks. Oh, he played 1 minute, it says.
Corey Crawford this year, by the way, not bad. .917 save percentage, 16-20. Obviously, the Hawks were not that good. But he's 35 years old. And I wonder, I actually looked at Corey Crawford the same way I looked at Henrik Lundqvist. If you're a team like potentially the Leafs and you're trading your starter away, is that not an interesting stopgap measure as a 40-game guy?
Corey Crawford would be a great backup for like $2 million. Like if he's willing to take a significant pay cut, I would take him as a backup on any team.
At a 917 for over 40 games, if I'm him, I'm going, why am I taking a haircut on this? Now, it's a goalie-rich environment, but if you're from his perspective, you could probably see why you'd say, well, no, you got to pay me pretty close to starter money here, guys, except the fact that he's 35.
Let's get even juice here with this. There's a pandemic. Mm-hmm. No one has any money. Mm-hmm. The cap is remaining flat, not just this year, but for several. And you're the Chicago Blackhawks. You don't look very good, okay? You don't look poised to win, put it that way. What is an NHL GM's first priority right now in this moment?
Probably which NHL GM?
Yeah, which team?
All of them.
They all have different needs, Stephen.
Well, what's their first priority? Your priority is always to try to win, right?
To try to win. Okay. So, hey, you and whoever the GM is, I need you to save us cap space. And you, whoever the GM is, I need you to shed salary, and we can't be paying anyone bonuses. Hey, just got off the phone. We have an opportunity to get Jonathan Toews. On second thought, so if you're the Chicago Blackhawks, and Blackhawks fans will not enjoy this conversation, but are you going to win anytime in the next 3 years?
No.
No? Well, that's how.
We may live to regret this clip. Like I bet they're in the Stanley Cup final in 2 years, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, we've been playing this for you," and it'll be on the scissor reel for the Hawks channel and everything.
Patrick Kane's got 3 years left. Jonathan Toews has 3 years left. Kane is owed 7 this upcoming season, followed by 6.9 and 6.9. And there's obviously bonuses involved there. Toews, the exact same structure: 7, 6.9, 6.9. Are you kidding me?
What are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting the Chicago Blackhawks trade those two on account of you ain't going anywhere. Not by the looks of it. Well, you're good enough to beat a very flawed Edmonton Oilers team in a best of 5 is what you learned.
Well, and that you should have never been in the first place.
No, in Vegas, who was not close to winning the Stanley Cup, because the standard is win it. Then there's what the Dallas Stars were, and then were you close to winning your series in the Western Conference Final? They weren't close. They didn't come close to beating the Dallas Stars. So you got manhandled by this team that didn't come close in the third round. Dude, you're not close. The Chicago Blackhawks should take a look at trading those two, and I'm going to throw Duncan Keith in there if you're able to pull it off, because that dude, you want to talk about value. Yes, he's got 3 years left, and how old is he? He's 37, so that's tough. His salary in each of the next 2 seasons, all base, 2.65, 2.1, 1.5.
See,
that's not the cap hit, though.
No, the cap hit, is 5.538, whatever, which still is not bad.
It's not bad at all. Is there any recapture if he retires? Because he signed one of those goofy-ended contracts, right?
There must be, but
if you're smart enough, you just put him in LTIR. Here, you know where he makes a lot of sense to me, Duncan Keith? A team, and I'm not saying this team
specifically. Say the Leafs, I dare you.
A team that is trying to win, has an internal cap. Duncan Keith makes a lot of sense for a team like Pittsburgh. Now, because they've got the internal cap issues, right? There's a pair issues, I say, but they're ownership probably rightly is saying, hey, can you just chill out and not spend $81.5 million this year? And you can understand that. But if you've got that cap room and you don't have to pay actual real dollars, Duncan Keith would be great on your a 3-4 guy for that.
He'd be less in actual dollars than Jack Johnson.
Yeah. Well, and that's. Well,
the Blackhawks have 3 redonkulous value deals there. And Stan Bowman, I think, would be a fool to not.
But Stan Bowman's never going to make – I got to tell you, Steve, they'll make a GM change before those players move.
Yeah. I think you need to wait for
loyal.
that to happen
Maybe that's
first.
the move.
The Brandon Peary trade proves that, by the way. Brandon Peary coming back to Chicago. Like, why? Why? That's why Hawks fans are so mad. And I don't even know if we talked about the Brandon Peary deal
briefly.
Yeah, we did.
So, because I had to duck out because Everly was crying. So the
Pretty
thing
small
is,
deal.
it's not that Brandon Peary himself is necessarily like a fit or whatever. It's the same. It's echoes of the Brandon Saad or Temi Panarin deal, which, by the way, is going to go down as one of the worst trades in Chicago Blackhawks history.
Whoa, Adam loves that hill.
It is.
Adam's got a house and a cottage on that hill.
What was great is that people actually said no at the time. Like people actually tried to tell me that it was, oh no, it's actually good though. No, it wasn't. It was never good. Oh, but we get 4 more years of Saad instead of 2 more years of Panarin. I'll take 2 years of Panarin. Thank you very much. Any day. I'll take 2 years of his over 6 of any of Brendan Saad's years. I'm not kidding. He's that good.
Adam's got a house and a cottage on the same hill.
He's a Hart Trophy candidate. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's an MVP caliber player. Period. So
Not for the Blue Jackets.
No, he was very good.
That's what all the responses are going to be. Not for them.
Very good for the Blue Jackets. He was very good.
He was.
So, I think the point I'm trying to make here is that Steve, I think you're right. In a vacuum, you're right. Rationally, you're right. But I think with Stan Bowman, this is a value judgment. He values these guys because they're his guys. It's not rational anymore, and that is when it is time to make a GM change.
And I'm just looking here. Like, has Maatta? Okay, so on capfriendly.com. Oh, there you go. Never mind. So it refreshed. The Maatta deal, it said they only had $5 million in cap space. And I'm like, yo, these guys are boned. They have 11.1, but they have to Drake Caggiula's an RFA. You don't worry about that too much. Dylan Strome, though, that's going to cost you a little bit. Dominic Kubalik just got nominated for the Calder. That's going to cost you a little bit. And then, they don't have a Adam. Yeah, you were talking about Corey Crawford, UFA. They don't have a goalie,
right? So you have to replace. I mean, they're going to re-sign Corey Crawford, and I would
Andrew
too.
Shaw, I think would. I don't think his career's over. I think he would come off IR.
Mm-hmm. But Corey Crawford is a again.
What are they, man? What are they?
That's what I'm saying. It's
you gotta pull the chute there, I think.
Well, and that's the thing is, if you're going to pull the chute, you got to pull the chute in the general manager. I don't think they're going to do that. So that's the way it's going in Chicago right now. Good luck, Hawks fans. Now, let's get into great moments in Selly history with Kellogg's Frosted Flakes and Tony the Tiger. Steven.
I always wait for him. And it never happens. Gosh darn it. Let's go.
Jesse wants
Tony! I need him!
Okay.
I need that 700 pound. Thank you.
When it's game time, don't flake on the Frosted.
Crank
There it is. So, Steve, let's talk about just some of your favorite celebrations in history.
Well,
pure joy is what we're looking for.
Adam, this is a great goal, a relieving goal. The fan reaction was amazing, and the player reaction, iconic. I dropped that. Right in there. Adam, I cheered for Curtis Joseph growing up, but it was with some reluctance because he took over for Felix Potvin, my childhood idol. It took a lot for me to like Curtis Joseph after replacing Felix Potvin. Also, when I was a much younger child, I grew up disliking Curtis Joseph. Why? Because he didn't play for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He played for the St. Louis Blues, and he was darn near unbeatable. Especially 1993. Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the St. Louis Blues. The game is in, I think it was double overtime, and they cannot beat the guy until Doug Gilmour decides to do his impression of a washing machine and just goes in full spin cycle, wraparound backhand. When was the last time you saw something like that go in today's NHL? He shovels it in the net. Maple Leaf Gardens goes insane, and Doug Gilmour, what was it, hugging Hal Gill? No, not Hal Gill. Sorry, Todd Gill. Whoops.
Hal Gill's a generation later.
Yeah, and they go, into the glass like that, and they slammed into it, And the glass, by the way, was this high. I'm sure people ran onto the ice because it was the 90s. It was lawless, gosh darn it.
Where you had to, by the way, to get to your seats, you had to go through the Maple Leafs bench back then.
You know,
you had to walk through the Maple Leaf bench to get to your seat.
You got to stop pinching. Excuse me. Yeah, you got to work on your gap control. Excuse me. Excuse me. Here's some popcorn. Yeah. So Doug Gilmour, one of my favorite sellies, along with Todd, a.k.a. Hal Gill.
Love it. Love it.
Steve's great.
Sure is.
And that Selly was even better there, Tony.
Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Boston or Vancouver? Now, the word is this week that the Coyotes asked Oliver Ekman-Larsson to expand his limited no. Well, he has a list, right? He's got the full no trade, and he gave them 2 teams, Boston or Vancouver. So the Coyotes are in a bit of a pinch here because they did ask him, hey, is there any other teams that you would consider going to? He said no. The word is Vancouver wants him more.
They're so screwed.
But the Coyotes want Boston's prospects more than they want Vancouver's prospects. And the issue in Vancouver is cap. We told you this was going to happen. Every time we mentioned
they can't afford him, and Vancouver said, want to bet. Everyone's saying Vancouver can't afford their own guys. And they're going out and they're getting Ekman-Larsson? Okay.
The last 2-3 summers, we've been saying, Jim Benning, put down the phone. Put down the phone. Put down the phone. Sutter, Beagle, Roussel. There's a myriad of bad moves. Even Tyler Myers. Crazy deal.
That's a
tough
deal.
Crazy contract for Tyler Myers. I know he was going to get it from somewhere, but it doesn't have to be you. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, by the way, that's always a terrible defense.
Oh, you would have got it from someone.
He would have got it from someone. It would have been bad. It would have been bad no matter where. Just because he would have got it.
Let someone do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it would have been bad for them then. Let it be bad for them then. Yeah. It's a terrible defense.
It's a crazy mindset to just not do the bad deal.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know why NHL GMs are just so quick to hand out these massive contracts.
The Dave Bolin contract that he got from Florida. Well, the Leafs were ready to get. Yeah, they would have been wrong. They would have been wrong.
Florida just outbid them on the way to the basement.
They were more wrong.
Yes.
They won the wrong sweepstakes.
What the hell were they thinking? And Shanahan was the guy that said we would have liked to have retained him. Come on, Shanny.
That was like a month into his time here, right?
Yeah, I was like, uh-oh.
We were concerned.
It was Boland he tried to extend. He did extend Randy Carlyle. I remember.
That was because you guys can't have your fun. You're not going to run roughshod.
Right, but we didn't know that at the time. So I was not in on the Shanna plan when he started in Toronto.
Right.
I'm a little bit higher on it now.
So let's have a look here quickly at what Vancouver's got, because you've already got the boat anchor Louis Eriksson contract, which is just 2 more years of this crap. To me, buy him out. But I'm not sure that the Aquilinis want to do that, right? Brock Besser, Bo Horvat, and JT Miller come in at about the same. It's $587, $550, and $525. Then you've got Brandon Sutter. 1 more year of Brandon Sutter. They're trying to move this deal, but he's got a modified no-trade clause, so that makes it even more difficult.
How did he get that?
You've got Tanner Pearson, who you traded a pretty solid package, as I remember, for, and he's been good for them. Michael Furland, $3.5 million for the next, and who has got a full no-move clause, by the way. Why do you have a $3.5 million player with a full no-move clause? That's just not something you can do.
The weirdest thing about their roster is that their highest-paid players are some of their least important guys. Like, all of their most important players on the Canucks right now are these mid-range young guys. And the top-end guys, the Louis Erikssons, the Alex Elders, like, they're their highest-paid players, and they're not that important to their roster. They're replaceable.
I prefer Alex Elder.
Alex Edler.
Edler, sorry.
No,
Alex Elder is better.
It makes more sense.
He's an aged man.
Yes.
Right. But here's the thing, okay? So you go, if you're Vancouver, you go and you get Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Then next summer, same problem, only it's this time Pettersson. And what are you going to do when Pettersson's up and somebody can offer sheet him?
Yeah.
That's the problem. Like you do have Sutter, Pearson, Barchi, all coming off. But you've also got to keep in mind that to even fit Oliver Ekman-Larsson, a couple of those guys probably have to go. And then you have the
has to be part of the deal.
You've got Tyler Myers, and then you've got Quinn Hughes. And that's what you have. You're probably not going to be able to retain Chris Tanev, although you're going to try. And then the question is, even if you don't retain Markstrom, you've still got Thatcher Demko, who is also an RFA next year. And if he's your starting goaltender, you're going to be giving him a significant raise. So they have issues with, again, and we talk about this with the Leafs too. The Leafs kept hoarding their young wingers that they should have traded, right? They did.
Yeah.
Janssen and Kapanen, they traded Kapanen finally. They got some great value for him.
That dam's about to burst.
100%. Vancouver signed veterans coming off of good seasons or good playoff runs in the case of Jay Beagle to contracts that really they should never have gotten. It hasn't totally hurt them yet. They've continued to get better. But at this point, when you want to start to acquire the big stars and re-sign the stars that you've developed, this is where the problems arise. Now, as I said before, Vancouver seems to want Oliver Ekman-Larsson more than Boston does. Boston always has the Torrey Krug option, right? If you are Boston, I'm not sure why you don't just re-sign Torrey Krug. Because he's $2 million less. Yes, it might be a 5 or 6 year deal. And yes, that might hurt you for the last couple of years. But Torrey Krug is a very, very good NHL defenseman. He's exactly what the Boston Bruins need. If they let him go, they have to replace him because they don't have another guy that's going to do what Torrey Krug does unless you bring in OEL. But OEL hasn't been analytically very good in a couple of seasons. He's good. Very good is very different.
So that does annoy me a little bit, seeing everyone talk about Oliver Ekman-Larsson like he's washed.
No, he's not.
Dude,
he's not.
He's
not.
You got to stop. When it's even 1 or 2 seasons, even if it's 2 consecutive, Oliver Ekman-Larsson was good enough before that you can't just write the guy off completely. He's not so old that he'll never get it back, especially on a team like Boston.
Yeah.
Are you joking?
He's been in a shite system for a long time.
Yes, and you take so much responsibility away from him, and he's playing. You got Chara on that team. They have a decent young defense core there. Good forwards to pass the puck to.
He's 29.
And he's
29.
They got all kinds of opportunities.
And at $7 million, I don't hate that.
Yeah, writing him off to me is dumb. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. Sorry. I said stop writing Oliver Ekman-Larsson off. However, there is the question, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm not willing to write him off. Well, am I willing to say he's as good as he was 3 years ago? Well, no. So I didn't say that. With Torrey Krug, there is no question mark. So I don't understand what Boston is doing there.
Do you get the sense, though, sometimes that teams just want to move on from a guy just because they're not because Torrey Krug's a bad guy, but sometimes it's like change for the sake of change, which is the worst kind of change you can make, by the way.
Well, how often does that prove to be the right choice?
Almost never. But I'm just saying human nature is new shiny thing.
It works with the guys on the periphery of your team. I feel like if your core is stable and you're swapping the pieces outside around it, change for the sake of change sometimes works in terms of bringing in a new mentality into the locker room.
Fresh
so I don't hate it. Yeah.
Now, I will say this. I think there may be the possibility of a three-way deal coming here.
They did talk about that today, yeah.
Because Boston and Vancouver, neither of them has what Arizona needs, which is a first-round pick. Mm-hmm. Neither of them have it. Vancouver doesn't even have a second this upcoming year. At very least, Boston does. It's still not enough. It's so much cap space to take on. It could be a deal sort of like the Leafs-Leonard one, except the Leafs were taking on, what did we talk about, like $150,000 or something like that as a deadline deal. It's such a higher stakes version of it. I don't see a fit here. I don't. Keep the guy.
With Boston, with OEL?
Yeah, what?
They seem less inclined to do it than Vancouver does. Vancouver really Jim Benning likes what Jim Benning likes, and he will move mountains to get that.
He will, and that means something like getting Tyler Toffoli, even if you have Brock Besser.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
he wants what he wants, you're right.
And Brock Besser, by the way, I saw Andrew Walker from Sportsnet, Sportsnet in Vancouver suggest that Besser go the other way, along with some other things. And I thought people lost their minds on this one.
I got to find the tweet because he loves just burning everything down.
By the way, it's 650. My apologies.
650.
Yeah.
Was it ever an option for the Leafs to keep Robin Leonard? Is that a mistake on Dubas's part? Did that ever come across his plate? No,
I don't think it was.
Okay.
I don't think that was. It wouldn't have happened, right? They involved the Leafs because the Leafs had the ability to do it. I
just wonder.
So, Andrew Walker on October 1st.
I've got it. Yeah, I've got it here.
Well, Adam, can I just read off some stats for you?
Sure.
130 responses, 53 retweets, and 49 likes. So it's a troublesome ratio. It's not a good start.
Andrew, in case you missed it, my trade proposal from yesterday on the show that you can hate and dunk on me for years to come. To the Canucks, OEL with $1.35 million retained. Dvorak and a 2020 second pick. To the Coyotes, Besser, Gaudette, Demko, and Sutter, 1.35 retained, and a 2021 first round pick, top 10 protected. That's a big amount.
It's almost like he went, what? This sauce is missing something that just puts Demko. And he just dropped it in there. Just setting the world on fire. That is so good. You gotta love it. He doesn't care. He welcomes it.
One thing that, you got to do that. One thing, though, that I would say is that if this OAL deal, either to Boston or Vancouver, does happen, because there's a good chance he's still the Coyotes captain next season, right? He has said, I don't want to move that bad. He does like it. So if he is still there, I don't get that either. Maybe it's the life. Like, I mean, it's an amazing place to live, but it's
tax.
No, tax. Okay, I don't know. If you've got a good accountant, you should be able to make it work. I think the point here is probably he doesn't want to uproot his family. He's also the captain. He's the guy there. So there's part of.
He didn't even want to be it. Remember?
Well, he's so humble.
He wanted. Well, he's so humble, but he's like, no, it should be Shane Doan. And they said, how about he's not on our team anymore? And he said, okay, fine. He didn't even want to be it.
Shane Doan's like, I'm not an NHL player anymore, but I'm upset anyway because I'm not good. But they're telling me I'm not good, and I don't like that.
Me and my 27 points will go elsewhere. Followed by nothing.
Nothing. I did want to say, if it does happen, you have to think that sort of sets the market for a little while for top-end defensemen. Whether or not you view Oliver Ekman-Larsson as a top 10 defenseman in the league anymore, which I think most people probably would, whether that's based on reputation or numbers, probably reputation more than numbers. The reality is the guy is a lock for 40 points. Sorry, there's going to be a siren that goes by my place.
I was wondering which one.
Is everything okay, Adam?
I'm dying. Can't you hear it? I'm dying. They're coming to save me.
We got a call reporting hot takes. The worst trade in Chicago Blackhawks history. Are you serious?
They're coming for you, Adam.
And they're going. Just spray me off from all the hot takes.
They have made far worse than that, Adam Wild. How dare you?
Oliver Ekman-Larsson, if this deal goes through, will set the market for what high-end defense. We've been wondering for years, what's a top 1-2 guy on a team go for? Now we know. And this guy knows too.
He's upset with you.
He's very upset.
He's coming.
It's Blackhawks fans already making their way up from Illinois. Are they going to quarantine for 2 weeks? No.
Shut up!
They're just throwing deep dish pizzas at my window.
Go again.
No, Adam. They're throwing just bowls of pasta sauce at your window. That's
Taylor Hall came out yesterday. Will entertain a 1 or a 2 year deal.
Cool. I mean,
that's huge. That's not cool. That's huge. Darren Ferris is Taylor Hall's agent. And here's what they said. So Elliot and Dave Amber and Chris Johnson had, again, it's like a great 5-minute video. So they said the process is going to be similar to what Tavares did, but obviously you're not going to have a parade of teams coming in because of COVID. But no offer from any team will be dismissed out of hand. Meaning he's willing to go anywhere and willing to look at anything so long as you meet the criteria that they want. So I'm assuming on a shorter-term contract, Taylor Hall is going to be on a winning team. If you're going to sign a shorter-term deal, I think Taylor Hall wants to be in the playoffs and he wants to win.
He's played 5 games, and then whatever you call this year.
He wants to be in the playoffs. So if you're a team that's got room for a guy like that, I mean, it depends on what it's going to cost you. But my question to that is, how many winning teams have the money to pay Taylor Hall? Because you'll have to pay him extra if he's going to take a shorter deal, right? how many teams have the money to pay Taylor Hall extra to play for them for 2 years? Because there are not a lot of cup caliber teams that are going to have it. Now, they'll make space. I'm sure Vegas will be in on this somehow. But you look at what Dallas did with Pavelski, and Corey Perry was less of a factor. Pavelski was still scoring at a pretty high clip. You find those deals. But you're not going to get Taylor Hall at $7 million.
Adam, after game 1 of the Stanley Cup final, Dallas Stars won. Mm-hmm. And after game 1, Dom Lucian, his model still had the Stars at less than 50% to win the Stanley Cup final. And I went, why the heck do you have that? They're 3 wins away. And he says, well, because I'm anticipating Steven Stamkos potentially coming back. And then he did. He only played 3 minutes, and then Tampa Bay won the Cup. Then the odds were released after Tampa won the Stanley Cup. They're not the favorite for this upcoming year. And no, they didn't lose points because they were, basically drinking out of a cup with strangers during a global pandemic. I said global pandemic. It's redundant. Pandemic. The Colorado Avalanche are the top team. They're the top odds team to win the Stanley Cup. Why? They didn't win it this year. I think it's in anticipation of who they're going to get. And they are absolutely in a position to get Taylor Hall or whoever the hell else they want. They have the assets. They have a good team. They have the cap space.
Are you telling me
Taylor Hall goes to Colorado?
Are Taylor Hall and Nathan McKinnon going to play on the same line next year?
Or the Taylor Hall, Nazem Kadri, and who cares line?
Gabriel
Producer Drew has been in my ear too much.
Would it be Landeskog or would it be Rantanen?
Who cares? Like your top line could be McKinnon, Landeskog, and Rantanen. Then you could have Nazem Kadri, friggin' Taylor Hall, and who's on the right? Who cares? Who's in there? Burakovsky, Donskoy. Doesn't matter.
Okay, by the way, low-key, Donskoy was a great pickup for them.
He's been underrated basically everywhere he's gone.
100%. That was a guy I wanted to see the Leafs go after last year, but I don't think they had the money. Yeah, you got Donskoy. Matt Calvert's also there. He's not a great, he's good enough, right? It would be guys. They've got to re-sign Burakovsky this year, so they're going to have some money locked up in that. But I mean, man, wow. Scary.
Taylor Hall should go to the Colorado Avalanche.
Well, there you go. Steve Dangle says it here first. Tristian Jarry was re-signed yesterday, $3.5 million per season over 3 years, bringing it to just, I believe it's $10.5 million. Now, that is going to be interesting for a lot of teams. First off, if you're a Florida Panthers fan, you're the only one. But you definitely have you're definitely upset.
Panthers.
Yes, because you have a goalie who makes $6.5 million more who does less. Hopefully, Bobrovsky rebounds like he's known to do. He has off seasons and then comes back and is on fire and will probably win the Vezina next season. But he's getting older, so it's harder to do.
It changes the East significantly.
What happens now with Matt Murray? Because Matt Murray, to me, I understand that he's had a couple down years, but like Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Matt Murray's he's 3 years younger than Ekman-Larsson, different position. He's 26 years old. He's won 2 cups.
And over 200 games of NHL experience at his age who has that?
Right.
Who has that?
No
and
one.
who has that playing for winning teams?
He was a 919 the year before, had a bad playoff, but it was, 4 games, whatever. And Pittsburgh fans, I'm sure, would argue he was part of the reason it was 4 games. I'm sorry, you don't go from a 919 to a 906 by fluke. It was probably a little bit of give and take.
There's no way he plays with the Penguins next year, though. He's on whichever team needs a starting goalie.
I think it's going to be the Leafs.
You think Matt Murray,
Is it with Freddie or?
No, I think Freddie's gone. I think Freddie's going somewhere else, and I think the Leafs are going to take a swing at Matt Murray.
Murray and Campbell is a tandem?
Murray Campbell.
I think the value with trading Freddie is going to be too tantalizing for Kyle Dubas. The guy makes $1 million. Someone should legitimately – okay, if Kasperi Kapanen gets you a first-round pick, a starting goalie, even 1 year of him, should – for $1 million,
well, so apparently
should get you a first.
The Carolina Hurricanes were interested, but the starting point with the Leafs was Dougie Hamilton, and that was a non-starter for the Hurricanes. But that's
nuts.
That's nuts. And, of course, the Hurricanes wouldn't do that. No. So I think the thing is with Carolina is that's how you start. They hang up the phone, and then maybe they call back in a week and go, okay, what about not Dougie Hamilton?
You want your 13th overall pick back?
And when you say $1 million
for Freddie?
Steve,
sorry, Jesse.
When you say $1 million, it's not $1 million. It's $5 million is his cap hit, and he has a $4 million signing bonus that
which has been paid
out. So the cash that the team will have to pay him in this upcoming season will be $1 million.
And that's big for a team like Carolina.
Yeah.
That needed. They admittedly don't want to go with the Mrazek-Reimer pair. They want a legit starting goalie.
Oh, Freddie Reimer, the Ginger Crew. Oh, they're gonna win the cup, and it's gonna make me sad. You know what's gonna really make us sad is when Freddie has a .960 in a playoff series against the Leafs this upcoming season.
because guess what? They actually play defense in Carolina. I'm not sure if you know that, but they actually have a solid, rounded out top 6 defense. That's a good team. Freddie Anderson with a good defense in front of him. Everybody's down on Freddie right now. Man, watch the fuck out if he goes to Carolina. That's huge.
Or
that
anywhere.
Team will destroy everybody.
That former Leaf syndrome.
You know how we look at Tampa and you're like, that is almost a perfect team. Is Carolina not almost a perfect team if Freddie Anderson has a good year next year and he's playing there?
They're getting there. I was pretty disappointed with them in the playoffs.
Right, but they're young.
Yeah.
Usually young teams do disappoint in the playoffs. Usually. You don't usually see the upstart young guys win the cup, even Vegas, right? So it's usually some, the teams that have failed and been there. So I'm curious about Matt Murray. I actually think he's kind of a good fit with the Leafs, but I might be crazy. What do I know about goaltending?
Back when Kyle Dubas actually spoke to me, this was years and years ago, and pre NHL Kyle Dubas. This is when he was with the Sioux Greyhounds. I was talking to him a little bit before the 2011 draft, and I was just like, what are you seeing? What's out there? Tell me about these guys, because he was in Major Junior, and I wish I still had the text. It was several phones ago. But it was something along the lines of Dougie Hamilton, not Doug's brother. Dougie Hamilton I think he either said he's going to be the best player from this draft or the best defenseman.
Wow.
And if you look at the 2011 draft, man, not far off. Not far off. He nailed that. And of course the Bruins got him. Of course.
With the Leafs pick.
I've told that story before, right? I think it was in the book, the Tyler Seguin story.
Yep.
Miserable. God.
Yeah.
Just torture. I know the Leafs would love to get him, but it's not happening.
I think they might be in on Matt Murray, guys. It's just, and you know what? The weird thing about it is when you're not hearing about it, the Leafs are probably in on it. You don't hear about what they're doing.
What goes the other way?
I don't think much. I don't know. It's a good question. Let's have a look.
He's an RFA, so it's just for the rights.
So you've got to, what I think you do if you're the Leafs is you're not giving up anything until you have a deal hammered out with them. Because what you do if you're the Leafs, if you make that trade without having that deal in place beforehand and having permission to talk to them, you're fucked.
Yeah, then you're
totally fucked.
Yeah, then you're screwed.
So you don't make that trade. You don't do that because the Leafs did that with Bernier, and Bernier fucked them because that's what he should have done.
Supposedly, too.
You don't make a trade for an RFA until you've got a deal done with them. And if the team will not let you speak to the RFA, you don't do the deal. Because then you've already traded assets. The RFA goes, what are you going to do? Not sign me? You don't do that. It's just not a thing that you do.
So let's assume Dubas has got a deal done with Murray's agent, and now he just needs the assets to go back to Pittsburgh. What do you send?
Well, I think you probably look at
who are your best prospects?
Your bet. Yeah. I mean,
SDA?
SDA. He had a weird year because he played really well with
Nick Robertson.
So I would imagine a guy like Rutherford, who's an old school guy, is not going to want to take a chance on a guy who's like 5'6". There's not a chance in hell.
He's pretty tiny. His NHL potential. He's a fascinating player. I don't know if he gets there.
There are guys on the team. I don't know if it's prospects. I feel like this is a pick situation, and I don't know if it's that big of a pick. I think
here's your 15th pick.
Well, no, you don't do that.
No.
But you've got Abramov, Korshkov. Like I could see maybe a Korshkov. I could see, and again, I'm not trying to be all Toronto about this. There would have to be more than that, but there's got to be probably some sort of name coming back. Korshkov's a big guy. He's 24. Probably could play in the NHL in a fringe situation right now, and he's going to make like $700,000. So that's
He'd be good with
for a team like Pittsburgh. I think he'd be very good with Pittsburgh because he wouldn't be expected to play a huge role. In terms of active roster guys, if there's a bigger deal to be done with Florida, more than Matt Murray, I'd have a hard time thinking that Travis Dermott wouldn't be involved in that somehow. Like, what if it isn't just Matt Murray? And what if Pittsburgh gets a young, mobile defenseman who is actually going to be able to play the left side? Because as we've told you before, is Travis Dermott a guy that has the tools to do it? Yes. Are the Leafs going to play him in a top 4 role on the left side?
No.
Are they going to play him on the right side ever?
Never.
No.
And Sandin is the guy that's going to make the jump.
Mikko Lehtinen is going to play on the right before Travis Dermott does.
You might play on the right before Travis Dermott.
Honestly, maybe.
Yeah.
I shoot right, so I meet the qualifications.
Do it. They're not going to do it. So then I look at it and go, is there a bigger deal to be done with Pittsburgh? Now let me have a look at Pittsburgh's organizational depth chart because we are doing this on the fly, and frankly, people are like, "You don't know what the hell you're talking about." I'm like, I don't know. We were just shooting the shit, which is what we do on this.
The problem with looking at Pittsburgh's organizational depth chart, I have no idea what Jim Rutherford is doing.
Yeah, I don't get it.
It changes every week.
I know he's trying to save his team money. Is he trying to make them better? Because, we're not there yet. Sometimes it's first you make the money-saving moves, and then you go, okay, here's how we get better on the ice. No, not yet. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what this person's doing.
Well, I wonder, too, can you fill a hole that, what are because there's so many moving parts on the Leafs, it's sort of difficult to figure out what the holes are going to be, right? Mm-hmm. You, at this juncture, have basically 3/4 of your top line set up, right? You've got, the Matthews, Tavares, Tavares, Nylander, Matthews, Marner, sort of sorted out. You probably have Mikheyev with Tavares. I don't know if you have Janssen with Matthews, but you might be looking for a winger potentially to play with those guys. And then you've got either, whether it's Janssen or it's Robertson or whatever, that third line looks like Kerfoot, Robertson, Guy. And then I wonder, with your fourth line, you're probably going to bring Spezza back, but is he going to be a center? He's a good face-off winner.
And if he's not, I was thinking about earlier today. I'm not sold Spezza's coming back.
I think he will.
Really?
I am.
Because that'd be a change of mindset for you, Steve.
Where does he fit? To me, I'd love him back. To me, he's not an everyday player.
Yeah, maybe he's not. And that's okay. That's okay. I don't hate that. What if a guy like Teddy Bluger? Is that a throw-in?
It's not a throw-in, man. That's a great player.
Yeah, that's
what I mean. Well, that's what I mean. If you're giving up a guy like Dermott.
See, Adam, they're coming for you. You shouldn't have said Teddy Bluger.
Damn,
they're coming for you.
Takes are hot. Well,
hey, here's a UFA. Patrick Marleau.
Yeah.
Get his rights from the Pittsburgh Penguins.
I am looking at the Penguins roster, though. By the way, I know he hasn't been great for the last few years, but is Justin Schultz all that bad as an option on the right side? I don't hate that.
I'm not.
Justin Schultz is Guy.
No, he's better than Guy.
No, he's Guy.
He's better than Guy anymore.
He is not your guy. He's not, to me, he's not what the Leafs need. And again, I told you, they need stops.
Okay, just checking.
To me, he's not.
Anyway, I don't know what that deal would look like, but I do think you could have something there. I think they're saving Travis Dermott for a guy like Travis Dermott who has a right-handed stick, mostly. That's what I think they're doing, man. Which is so silly.
That's so frustrating. God.
Which brings me to, and I'm going to flip some topics here because I wasn't going to go right here, but Florida, we heard yesterday, is open to any and all names except Alexander Barkov. Aaron Ekblad has been linked to the Leafs for years, at least through Leafs fans, and some in the media. Mm-hmm. Aaron Ekblad is the guy that Morgan Riley needs.
Oh, my God. That'd be so. And
if you bring in Aaron Ekblad, does that push Morgan Riley to the second power play unit again?
No. Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Is Aaron Ekblad going to give you the stops you need?
Is he good enough defensively?
Some. He'll be the best player Morgan Riley has ever been partnered with.
Ron Hainsey says hello.
Good enough. No, he's better than Ron Hainsey. How dare you?
Not
dare you?
Not Pete Haynes' dog was incredible. You need to not diminish that man.
I do want to know what an Aaron Ekblad trade would look like. Not even to the Leafs. What does that even look like? Because now apparently he's again. when we talk about this in analytics terms, the tendency is to go, well, he's not as good as we thought, so he's washed. That's not true. Right? It's the same OEL thing. It's and Aaron Ekblad, I think, is a better defenseman right now and younger than OEL.
You
but
need
makes
to up
about
your
the same
vocabulary. Some people with numbers. You got to stop.
Don't speak
Good
in
and sucks. There's a different.
Either he's trash and he should never play again, or he's the greatest player in the world. There's no in between here.
I would say a number or a second, the second best defenseman on your team making $7.5 million, which is what Ekblad makes, is pretty good. Yeah. I'll take that.
These days,
it's pretty sweet, man.
And we've, the structure of deals is important. Ekblad's deal is bizarre. Here's his signing bonus versus base salary for the rest of his contract. 4 + 2 = 6. 3 + 6 = 9. 4 + 2 = 6. 3 + 4 = 7. 3 + 4 = 7.
So you got it for 5 more years.
And the Leafs can pay that.
The only thing I worry about is the 7.5 when Morgan Rielly comes up next offseason. How do you afford to pay Morgan Rielly when you already got 7.5 in Ekblad?
There is a rather vocal segment of Leafs Twitter, Jesse.
Oh.
That says just trade him while his value's there.
Trade Morgan Rielly.
Similar situation to Freddie where you have him. You could just keep him because you have him, or you get a whack of value. I would not do that. I love Morgan Rielly. Yeah, I really like him. I want him to stay on this team. I think that would blow up the room too. But it's not a smart move.
You're ruining a lot of guys' days in that locker room if you trade Morgan Rielly, and you probably don't want to do that.
You want to maybe disrupt the room, not destroy it.
Here's the thing: if he walks and they don't get anything for him, the reality is they had him on a sweetheart deal for 5 years.
Yeah.
That was your value. You got 72 points for you at $5 million. That's your value. And if you have to, guys, in life, free agents will walk. You're not going to get value for every free agent. Sometimes they're going to walk.
Live in the moment.
You got to win.
Yeah.
So you back your team.
The next 2 years of Rielly at $5 million is your value.
That's your value.
That's
You signed Tavares for 7. You signed Matthews for 6. You signed Marner for 6. You signed Nylander for 6. You had the future in mind with all these deals. Live in the moment for a second.
Mm-hmm. And that's where you get into that Ekblad.
Have him. Have Morgan Rielly currently. And then worry about it later.
Well, when Ian Tulloch was on with us, I think like a year ago, trading future wins for current wins, meaning, or there's a better term for it, but you're trading wins for 3 or 4 years from now for a guy who'll get you wins today. Mm-hmm. And Aaron Ekblad is a guy that would get the wins. You imagine, okay, their top 4, Muzzin, Rielly, Ekblad, and Hall. Hall, who's, by the way, not bad at all. Just keep him in the role he's in.
Or Sandin.
Sandin would be the left side.
Well, and then Sandin's on the third pair, plus
Lettinen, Liljegren, Radko Gudas, Dylan DeMello, whatever you want to do. Right?
I would like Dylan DeMello. I was thinking to myself, if Dylan DeMello got signed and played with Morgan Rielly, would he be Morgan Riley's best defense partner?
Is Greg Patterson up from Minnesota?
I don't know. Former Leaf draft pick Greg Patterson?
Yeah.
Patterson?
I've never actually. I don't know.
But he's a guy that I like as a fringe 5'6" guy. I like him a lot, and their numbers suggest that he's actually pretty good. I'm just looking for the Wild here because that was the last place I remember him being.
Can I just say before it happens?
He's 30 years old, $2.5 million. I don't hate that.
This show is going to get blown up. By the way,
yeah,
I think Ekman-Larsson is going to happen in like 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 3:21, 3:21 right now Eastern. It's going to happen in 2 hours.
When is the draft?
Evan Rodriguez is going to. We're going to get news there.
The draft is Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
So there's going to be a million trades.
The other thing I want to quickly ask you is there anybody have, if you're we're talking about the Leafs here, but is David Severson not a guy that seems like a good fit with the Leafs? Contract, way he plays. I mean, he's not going to get you necessarily the stops that you need. But what if you have Severson and Muzzin and Hall and Rielly?
It's interesting.
Because Hall can get you some stops and play steady stay at home. Severson's a wild card. He's a bit Jake Gardner-ish. But if he's playing with Muzzin...
He's got a weird backdiving deal, which we're going to see a lot more of, but we're
going to see mid-dive deals too, right? For the next few years. And then,
it's going to be very strange, but his contract goes 2.53, 4.6, 4.6 this upcoming season, followed by 5 and then 5.1. So from a dollars standpoint, I could see the Devils moving him. What if you're the Leafs? Let's just get stupid. Let's get stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Retain half on Subban and give us Severson as well. Just give us a whole right side. Let's go. I don't know.
What do you give them in return?
I don't know. It's
Travis
silly
Dermott
season.
Plus. Well, you probably give up the first round pick. Probably give up Travis Dermott. Maybe Timothy Liljegren as well. I don't know, man. You got to give them something.
Oops. Sorry.
Travis Dermott actually would be a great fit for a rebuilding Devils team. First round pick would be great for them as well. Subban and Severson would be pretty sick.
I mean, it's
that
pretty
would be
fun.
And then you move Justin Hall down to the third pair and play him with Sandin or Lettinen as the case.
Do you get the stops you need? I don't know. If you play the right guys with the right guys. The thing is, Severson and Subban are very similar in the sense that they're offensively minded. Right? Is Subban known for the best defense in the league? Not really. Maybe not anymore.
Not anymore. And also, I wonder where his back is at. Is his back okay?
He's had lots of time off.
Boy, and he looks fit as hell, but he always has. It's the question is for me. It's what we saw last year with New Jersey was that the rotation, it's almost like you could see with Karlsson's ankle. There's a side he can pivot on, and a side he objectively cannot pivot on anymore. With Subban, there were times where it's like if this were 3 years ago before back injury, he'd have been able to rotate and get this.
I know that feel, dude. I know that feel. Pernell Carl. I get it.
So we'll keep moving here because I know we've got a ton to get to. It's funny. Luke Fox put out an insane article at sportsnet.ca, which you should check out. And I love Luke Fox's quick hits articles. Just quickly on Edmonton. We have talked about them a little bit, but Ken Holland says, Jesse Puljujarvi, there's some optimism about him returning. And when he was asked about it, he told NHL.com, I do have some optimism he will return to us for a variety of reasons. He's a restricted free agent, can't play in the NHL unless we sign him or trade him, and I'm open to doing anything, but it's got to make sense. So far, nothing has been offered that struck a deal. He said, I've been in touch with his agent over the summer, and I think he'll have some better understanding of where I'm going as we head into the next week with regards to a relationship or non-relationship with Jesse. Now, he followed that up with Jake DeBrusk would look good in an Oilers sweater, but Don Sweeney would immediately need to start looking for a second-line winger. Is there not a potential fit there? Not that you know that Jesse Puljujarvi is that guy, but if you're Don Sweeney, you have the opportunity. Jake DeBrusk is a great player. But you could have Louis DeBrusk calling Jake DeBrusk games, which would be cool because he's in the West. But beyond all that, so Jake DeBrusk goes to Edmonton. You get Puljujarvi plus for him back, and you have the cap space because Puljujarvi's not going to cost much to go and find that other winger as well.
It's interesting.
And there's wingers available. Maybe that puts – if they're in the Pietrangelo sweepstakes or the Oliver Ekman-Larsson sweepstakes, if they don't go Oliver Ekman-Larsson, what if they go Taylor Hall?
Taylor Hall to
Boston. Why not?
I had to make sure.
Why not? Why not?
No, you're absolutely – and it's similar to Colorado. Where do I feel like I have a chance? I think Colorado has a chance. Taylor Hall taking a cheap deal in Boston? Ooh.
I don't think he'd be cheap.
Yeah, I don't think he wants a cheap deal.
But if he did a 1-year deal or a 2-year deal in Boston, boy. And that's the thing. Boston's got to look at this like we've got – Marchand and Bergeron are still Marchand and Bergeron, but for how long? Right? They're not kids anymore. And if I can get Taylor Hall and add to that, because they've been trying, the Rick Nash deal, and who was the other? They made
Charlie Coyle.
But yeah, Rick Nash was, a bit more of a part at that point than he was a superstar.
David Backes?
Backes back in the day. They made deals, and you're right. And Charlie Coyle actually worked out great for them. Mm-hmm. The point I'm trying to make here is you have the opportunity to not add a guy that's like a third line guy. You have Puljujarvi, who could be a third line guy, and then you have Taylor Hall, who is objectively a first line player in the NHL, who you can put on your second line. That's scary. You're rolling out Marchand and Bergeron, and then Krejci Hall.
Any Bruins fans listening to this, Jeremy Jacobs might get in the way of the Bruins contending here, because if he's not willing to give Torrey Krug the money, why is he going to give Taylor Hall the money?
I
right?
think it's not that they're not willing to give Torrey Krug the money. I think they know, though, that Torrey Krug is going to get overpaid.
Maybe.
And it might not be overpaid in terms of the yearly amount. It's the 6th or 7th year of the Torrey Krug contract that Boston probably just doesn't want to commit to.
It's such a bad year to be Torrey Krug.
Yeah.
God, that guy should be getting so much money, man.
Dude, he's going to get 36 million bucks.
He's still going to be fine.
Yeah.
He's going to be fine. I just mean by NHL standards, right? I can retire with Torrey Krug's current money.
Yeah, of course.
but the money he is going to get is going to be far less than what he should have.
From Luke Fox as well, and we're going to switch gears here. Bergevin is willing to trade his first rounder, 16th overall, for a top 6 winger, as he should be. It also wasn't so long ago that Tampa's Julien Brisebois traded late first-round picks for bottom 6 wingers, Barclay Goodrow and Blake Coleman. Obviously worked out for him. Pittsburgh landed what it sees as a top 6 winger in Kasperi Kapanen for the 15th overall pick, but only because Toronto viewed Kapanen as a third liner. The trick will be finding a team that undervalues one of its wingers or has a glut of them. Does Toronto not have a great winger for Montreal?
Oh, heavens.
Now, I'm not saying Andreas Janssen is worth a first-round pick, because he's not. But
what's coming back for Toronto's winger?
The 15th overall pick. Or 16th overall pick, with a pick after Toronto's.
That'd be interesting going 15-16.
Or trading 15 and 16 to a team.
It's Montreal, though. I just feel like in-division trades are so hard to pull off now.
They are tough. Anyway, just a thought, but there are teams. That's the thing the Leafs have, is they have wingers.
They do.
I don't hate that. And Andreas Janssen does have a pretty solid contract, even if you don't get the first round from them. If they're looking to get wingers on that team, what if you got a second rounder or a second rounder plus?
Prediction: are we going to get these deals now, like between this show and the next, or are we going to get them at the draft or after?
What day is the draft again?
Tuesday.
It's Tuesday, Wednesday.
So Wednesday, when we do this show, we're going to have a lot more to talk about, I would think. Although they say that every year, and they almost make no trades in the first round.
Well, I think, like, for example, they, at the very end of the second day of the draft, like Max Pacioretty got traded. Or something like that. So we're going to record a few hours after. Or no, we're going to record like as the 7th round is wrapping up. If we miss stuff today, I'll live with it. If we miss stuff Wednesday, I'm going to be pissed. Yeah. Adam, do you live on the road?
I do. It's
like
the stupid Hertz rental van. What? Yeah, I don't know. I literally live above Queen Street.
The only rental truck we respect is Purolator.
Yeah. Well, then you can't rent Purolator trucks.
You can't rent them, but they're hiring and they deliver stuff.
That's true. Torrey Krug, by the way, Vegas has been grouped in along with Colorado, Florida, and Detroit among the parties that are interested. What a surprise. The Knights.
Does Vegas have a higher cap than the rest of the league?
They have a better left side. I don't know. I feel like Pietrangelo is going to Vegas, man. I just feel that. But I just thought you should know that Torrey Krug has some interested parties. Colorado, to me, makes a lot of sense for him because of just the way they play hockey. Now, Jack Eichel. Jack Eichel. I'm curious about him. And I wonder, the Rangers have a Jack Eichel-sized contract in dead money on the books right now with the Lundqvist thing and who else did they buy out? Kevin Shattenkirk, Dan Girardi, and there was one more. And I think they retained on Mark Stahl or something like that. It's like $12 million.
Brad Richards? Oh, Ryan Spooner.
Oh, my God, Ryan Spooner.
That's $300K, though.
Yeah. It's negligible.
Yeah.
But still.
It's less than a league. It's less than a quarter of a league min contract.
Something like
guys, I think it's insane for the Rangers to consider. But do you trade Lafreniere for Jack Eichel, or do you keep Lafreniere and go, this is where our value is?
I don't remember who it was, but some person online was like, no, you absolutely do that. You trade Lafreniere for Eichel.
Yeah, because the best case scenario is he turns into Eichel. That's the best case.
No, but he's being paid $925,000 for the next 3 years.
Well, there's that. Yes.
Jack Eichel's going to make what, 9, 10? How much does he make right now?
Okay, but that might mean that Chris Kreider is up, and the Leafs can go get Chris Kreider, who they need to get.
It's always about the Leafs. Yes, I love it.
I want Chris Kreider to come on the block so the Leafs can get Chris Kreider. I'm a Chris Kreider guy.
Since it was 10 years ago, there's been a lot of Taylor versus Tyler talk. Taylor Hall, who went first overall in 2010, versus Tyler Seguin. Seguin's numbers are not only better, but the argument at the time was how close they were, and the tiebreaker should be Seguin's a center.
Yeah.
Seguin's a center. Taylor Hall is a winger. So to me, is Lafreniere's ceiling higher than Eichel's? I'd argue no, even if he scores more.
Yeah.
Eichel's down the middle, man.
To be fair to Buffalo, if you're Kevin Adams, and yes, you want to build around Jack Eichel and that sort of thing, you don't win the Jack Eichel trade, although Lafreniere's not bad. I look at it like your timeline for what it's going to take for Buffalo to be good is probably 3 or 4 more years. Yeah. They don't have a team. They actually objectively do not have a team under contract.
Jack Eichel is that friend who every time he comes over just complains about his girlfriend. It's like, dude, just
break up with her.
You're done.
Yeah.
You know deep down where your heart is, Jack. Like what you're giving the Sabres an ultimatum? The Sabres? That you got to be good this year. Like what's the illusion?
The Sabres need to trade Jack Eichel, but the Rangers are not the team. They can't take on $10 million when they could have a guy who makes under $1 million that can do relatively. You're hoping he's going to turn it into the same thing. The numbers don't work out there. I think Jack Eichel will find a spot on a different team for sure. And I think if you're the Sabres, you do that in a heartbeat, but not to New York.
Let me Galaxy brain this, and I'm going to get lit up for this. So ready, get the fire trucks coming.
I was about to say something dumb.
Get ready.
Let's go.
All right.
What if, because this is going to take, it's going to be a pretty big move. What if you get the Sabres to hold some money in Jack Eichel's deal, and you throw them another pick?
You don't do that if you're the Sabres.
Crazy. 2 firsts. You take Jack Eichel, you take $2.5 million off his deal. So he's a $7.5 million player, or 7.725, whatever. And the Rangers give up this year's first and next year's first.
That'd be the worst trade first, Brandon Saad.
This year's first is Lafreniere, right? And that's really good. Next year's first is going to be somewhere in the 20s. But the the Sabres need that.
No, but if you're the Rangers, why do you do that?
Why don't you? Because you get Jack Eichel to play with Artemi Panarin. That's why you do that.
God, that's good.
Yeah, but you can't. The money doesn't work. I don't know.
The money will work. You make the money work.
If it's $7 million, then you probably make the money work.
I do agree that if you have a chance to get Jack Eichel, you figure it out.
Yeah, you figure it out.
Eichel is playing with Panarin. He's an MVP candidate every year.
Yeah, I don't give up Lafreniere for that though.
I do. 100%.
I
100% do. Connor McDavid's got his Leon Draisaitl, Panarin, Eichel. Watch out, Broadway. Oh my God. That would be delicious. That is what the league needs. And the Sabres then have the opportunity to actually reset and rebuild again. And they get a pretty good guy to start things around.
It's the wrong timing with Eichel.
They're not going to get better.
I really don't. It's one move isn't going to fix the Sabres.
No, of course.
I think the sad reality is they kind of need to suck.
Yeah.
They kind of
and it sucks for Buffalo.
Jack Eichel prevents the Buffalo Sabres from sucking as bad as they need to.
That's a good point.
There's a chance by next Sunday when we're recording after free agency starts on Friday that Jack Eichel is no longer a Sabre. Like that's one, I would think. Those are pretty good odds, right?
Or they sign a ton of guys and
I think the odds are better that he's not on the Sabres anymore.
By the way, for anybody that's going to shit post me after the show, I'm not saying that's the complete deal. I'm just saying that's probably the piece of it. So don't shit post me, you fucking jerks. I'm kidding. But the point is like we're spitballing here. It's not like I have said this and I've heard this from a team source. I haven't. We're trying to be creative here.
No, it's Adam. It's
for God's sakes.
Everyone, what Adam is doing. You ever read a menu and you go, the Buffalo Ranch Burger or whatever, and then you look at what's on the side. Jack's the burger.
What's on the side?
What's on the side? Alexi's the burger. What's on the side? All right? You read the main first, and then fries or coleslaw, maybe sweet potato, then you look at all the rest of it.
What about to LA? Do they want him for the number 2?
I mean, I think they probably do. I think they probably do. But the problem is, if you're Jack, first off, LA would be sick. So much fun to live there. But I don't know that. Like, LA is still relying on Jonathan Quick to be their goaltender. If I'm Jack Eichel, I feel like LA is a little bit more closer to the Sabres. Like, the Rangers are on the up, right? The Rangers are a good team. They've drafted well. They've done well. And by the way, once this year passes, they're going to have a ton of dead money come off the books. So they're going to be players in free agency next year as well. Huge players.
Jack, you get one life.
Go to New York.
You get one chance
Go
to
to
be
New
happy.
York.
It's not an option.
Go to New York.
He's not a UFA.
Now, so Jack can ask to be traded. He cannot ask to be traded to New York.
Yeah.
Well, he can control it if he opens up his no trade clause.
Or if you're Kevin Adams, you go, too bad I'm keeping you. And then Jack goes, fine, then I'll sit out. And then if you're Kevin Adams, you go, fine, we'll just be bad. That's what we want anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Adams steers the bus here.
No, Kevin Adams steers the bus, but Kevin Adams does not want to look bad because the Pagulas already look bad. And if the press gets worse on this one, I'm serious. Public pressure matters here. Don't underestimate it.
How can the Sabres look worse?
Mad market.
Yeah, I think the fans will turn on Eichel. Not if Eichel's like, I want out and I want to go.
I don't think so.
Team. Yeah,
I don't think so.
At that point, they turn on him.
How could they be mad at him?
The fans don't hold the players who hold out.
Yeah.
We're Sabres fans want out. Sabres fans want a different team. Sabres fans want to leave too. They just can't.
Yeah, no, but they're not going to side with the guy who wants to leave.
I would. I'd be like, get out of here. I love you. Thank you.
Adam, you're wrong all the time, so.
I'm always wrong.
Sit in that boat.
It's true. You're right.
No, man. It's different situation, but look what happened to Vince Carter here. William Nylander sat out, and there's a chunk of the fan base.
Vince Carter was being a dick.
What does with Vince Carter?
Okay, I'm talking about guys who are
sucks. Okay, look at it like
the Raptors sucked.
No, they didn't. They were a playoff team.
They kind of sucked.
Playoff.
They were a playoff team, and they just drafted Chris Bosh.
They never made it out of a second round.
They were still in the playoffs. They were still in the playoffs.
Standard.
Wow,
man.
the bar.
The standard.
Well, it was for the time.
Oh, they're good.
Marner has lost a segment of this fan base forever. And he didn't miss a game. He didn't miss a single game.
Yeah, guys. But when the Leafs fucking blew chunks and Phil Kessel was their only good player, the rational Leafs fans were pumped when he went to Pittsburgh and won a cup and shoved it in all these guys' faces, and me included. You would look at it like that. Please do not compare Mitch Marner, who's got 4 great fucking hockey players to play with all the time, and there's no excuse for him to not be good. Jack Eichel, who has been good despite not having pretty much anybody to play with. Jack Eichel is the Buffalo Sabres right now, and if he wanted to leave, I bet you 99.9% of Sabres fans go, great, us too. Can we leave with you? I'd love to cheer for New York, the other New York team.
Maybe it's
other New York team.
Yeah, if he wants to leave, yes, that's a good thing. Then you get all the assets back and everything. It's a different conversation if he says, I want to leave and I only want to go to New York, so sell me at 10 cents on the dollar because I want to be a Ranger. That's a different conversation.
And Lafreniere is coming back, by the way. The other thing I would say, Jesse, to that is if you're Jack Eichel, there's how many people in Buffalo versus how many people in New York? I think the New York Ranger fans will out-cheer the boos that you'll get from the Sabres fans.
No, I'm saying if you're Kevin Adams, it's not happening. You're never making it there at that price.
I think you will.
If you're Kevin Adams, you do what Terry Pegula says.
Yeah.
I mean, by all intents and purposes, that's why he's there.
Now, is it because my understanding is that it's Kim Pegula that has more of the day-to-day responsibility, or is that just with the Bills?
Same family, man.
Yeah, true.
same family.
On Tuesday, the Rangers are selecting Lafreniere. I think that's it.
I want it to be Jack Eichel in New York, and I will buy a damn jersey. New York will be my second team. I will be so freaking jacked to watch Rangers games. Oh, I'm flying to New York when the pandemic's over. I'm going to go see my boy Jack Eichel kick ass.
They are fun to follow.
Okay, I'm just looking at this last thing here. Thank you to everybody who tweeted me and said that Laurent Brossoit had been re-signed.
Laurent Brossoit.
Here's the other last thing that I wanted to mention before we get into the press conference. San Jose. apparently has galaxy brain at their goaltending. They want to bring in Devin Dubnyk to play with Martin Jones in a platoon role. Devin Dubnyk, who we love, great comeback story, had some great seasons, has been declining for 3 years. Is this really what San Jose wants to do?
Now, so I've been trying to figure out what their thinking is here. So if the intention is to have, what is it, $11 million worth of goalie in a platoon role, oh, God, you're hoping that fewer games makes Dubnyk better and fewer games makes Jones better, which is a good idea. You get to maximize your own asset with Martin Jones. That's a very expensive if. And, okay, better does not equal good necessarily. You know what I mean? It doesn't automatically equal good. The San Jose Sharks goaltending this upcoming season could be far better and still not be good. It was terrible. Devin Dubnyk there and Ryan Donato going the other way. Like, Ryan, what is the obsession there? I don't understand.
Don't get it.
One of those strange players who just it almost feels like they've started their career too early because everyone views them as a 21-year-old for the rest of their lives.
It's like that kid Tyler Bozak who was 27.
That kid Tyler Bozak, Galch, I'll throw into that conversation. Oli Maatta just got moved. Oli Maatta's been in the NHL for 14 years, and Ryan Donato entered the following season at 13. And they're both 47.
Yep, but they're kids.
I don't understand. And Ryan Donato's 24. But one of those guys, Sam Gagner, that guy played 300 NHL games before his 16th birthday.
Yeah, perpetually, young. I wonder about that too, Steve. But the thing is that like Doug Wilson can't think that's going to work, right?
I mean, he can. We've talked for 7 years about how NHL GMs are crazy. He absolutely can.
Right. Like he might actually think that.
You know, upon further review, that's a really good point.
That's really funny.
He can't really. I assure you he can. But dude, he might be right. It's the NHL. Like, who knows? Who knows? There was a time not too long ago where we were like, Martin Jones is great and Devin Dubnyk is great. Maybe they help each other recapture that. Boy, just with so many goalies available, that's just not the move I would make.
Yeah, right?
The only reason you make it is you think the deal is going to be sweetened. And Ryan Donato? Okay. Like, that's enough for you? Yeah? Does he play nets? Is Ryan Donato going to nets? I don't understand how this GM who basically fleeced everybody for
Carlson
a number of years is all of a sudden his name is mud. That dude gave up the 3rd overall pick for Erik Karlsson.
Guys,
the Hoffman deal. What?
I'm embarrassed about something.
Why are you embarrassed?
Do you remember earlier in the show where I made a couple of hot takes?
Yes.
There was one take that was not nearly hot enough.
Why?
You know why Matt Murray's going to be a Leaf?
Why?
Matt Murray's last year in junior was 13-14 with the Sioux Greyhounds.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Matt Murray played 4 years with the Sioux Greyhounds.
Oh, yeah.
Matt Murray's going to be a Leaf, guys. You watch.
I thought you were going to say...
Pittsburgh already talking.
Adam, I earnestly thought you were going to say, you know how Matt Murray is going to be a Leaf? He just got traded to the Leafs.
No.
That is straight up what I thought you were going to say.
Dude, I thought a trade was breaking.
Dude, I'd be freaking pumped. 50 games of Matt Murray and 32 of Jack Campbell? Yes, please.
Man, screw you for pausing the show like that. I thought
sorry. I'm sorry. I just sometimes when your take is hot, you need to fucking ratchet that level up, which is what I'm doing.
The fire department's right outside your house, apparently.
They sure are. That's just me being sweaty. All right, let's do the press conference.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
Jesse, I'm sorry to do this. Before we get started, I did want to mention that Elliot Friedman and Chris Johnston also mentioned that Henrik Lundqvist could end up in Washington. Not a bad play.
Loves wearing the red, white, and blue.
Yeah, don't hate that.
Speaking of Washington goalies, the internet took exception to Braden Holtby being ranked a top 10 goalie in NHL 21 because the ratings came out today, and he was ranked 8th, I think, overall in the league. 8th or 9th. I think it was 9th, actually. People are not happy.
The NHL ranking here. I need to point out the most egregious one.
With EA Sports and their NHL rankings?
Yes. Top 10 wrist shot power.
Oh, man.
Number 1, Alex
Ovechkin.
Number 2, Evgeny Malkin. Number 3, Patrick Kane. Number 4, Tyler Seguin. Number 5, Steven Stamkos. Number 6, Anze Kopitar. Number 7, Phil Kessel. This is NHL 21.
But Phil Kessel's wrist shot is insanity.
Probably should be higher.
Number 8, Evgeny Svechnikov. Number 9, Brent Burns. Number 10, Jakub Voracek, who I think his career high is 23 goals. Austin Matthews, man! Not to be a homer, but if there's one thing he's got, it's one of the top 10 wrist shots in the league.
I don't know, Steve. I don't know if he can.
No?
You know what also might be left off that list that is going to piss a lot of people off? William Nylander's wrist shot.
Yeah, that's top 10.
Honestly, if he starts hitting the net with it, I'm not kidding. That's a sneak. When he hits the net with that shot, it's unbelievable. He just can't fucking hit the net.
Also, bone to pick with that list. So Connor McDavid on the wrist shot accuracy list is number 1.
Which makes sense.
The wrist shot power list doesn't make the top 10.
Doesn't he score most of his goals on the rush?
He scores his goals by just flipping it in the net because he's already dangled goalies right by him. Because
his speed better be number 1, and his dangling should be top 10.
Yeah.
100%. Which, by the way, Matthews, I believe, was not top 10 in deking either. Okay. I don't think so.
Marner should be.
Dude, Pasternak wasn't on that list.
That's true.
Yeah, that's fucked. Wow. Well,
Voracek? Does he know someone at EA? Voracek?
Also, ridiculous thing. On the slap shot power list, Ovi is number 1.
Okay.
Now, when I think of slap shot power, I just think of how hard you can shoot the puck. Sure. All the top 10 should be a defenseman.
Pettersson was in the hardest shot. Is Pettersson on that list?
That's true. Pettersson didn't make the top 10, no. It's Ovechkin, Weber, Malkin, Stamkos, Laine, Seguin, Kessel, Voracek, Parayko, McKinnon.
Does Seguin know someone at EA Sports?
Parayko's an interesting one.
Why is Kessel's slap shot power 7th best in the league?
Wait, Kessel's?
I've never seen him take a slap shot ever.
Kessel hasn't taken a slap shot since university. What are you talking about?
He doesn't slap shot.
He's 7th overall in the game at slap shot power.
He doesn't take slap shots.
Phil Kessel.
Ever. Never.
EA Sports,
snap shot, wrist shot guy.
EA Sports, they've nailed it.
It's tough, man. For fuck's sakes, it's a video game. But and I understand accuracy is key, but it's tough. I also want to give this guys a break.
Where did you get that, though?
Yeah.
How do you know his slap shot's hard? He's never used it.
That's true. It's kind of a good point.
Guy uses a pool noodle. No. Bad.
Okay.
How dare you?
Question.
Why will NHL 21 suck?
Oh, I think it'll be good. It's just those stats. How dare you?
You know what? The trailer for the Be a Pro looks cool.
It did.
It does. And NHL 94 are coming back.
Adam sent me a screenshot to read.
Oh, from Quinn.
The listener's name is Quinn.
Yep.
Quinn says,
Quinnstorm.
Not sure what's on the show, but was wondering if the topic of how the media portrays the Leafs and the lack of support the Leafs get from mainstream media year in and year out is just ignored. A couple writers mentioned how great it is that Tampa's core has been kept together, and ironic that he's one of many that continue to try to pick the Leafs apart and break up the core.
So probably mentioning Steve Simmons in that. I think what you have to realize that with a big market team, is, and by the way, Steve Simmons, who put out an article like, we're not paying Tavares to be whatever, mediocre or average, and he hasn't been, but
dude,
whatever.
That guy trends more than the prime minister.
Right,
so
but
he's doing something right.
But remember this,
I guess.
okay? When you are, there's two schools of thought here, right? You can be the guy that just objectively tries to tell the facts, like a Jonas Siegel. James Myrtle is opinionated, but he's got things to back it up. Or you can be like Steve Simmons and go, I don't give a fuck what you think, and here's what my eye test tells me, and I'm also Mark Hunter's best friend. The thing is, a contrary point of view is not an intelligent point of view.
Well, it's like with Skip Bayless.
Being a contrarian makes you sound intelligent, but you're not. It's just I'm gonna this thing that's happening. I'm gonna and the thing is, obviously with the Leafs not performing, it allows for a lot of more of those dissenting voices to get a little bit more, probably more credence than they should. So, I think what the heart of Quinn's question is, why are we not a little bit more united on what's going on here? Well, number one is they're not winning.
Yeah, that's number 1, 2, and 3.
If the Raptors, I could not see a media group more pumped about a team in Toronto winning than the Raptors media.
The Raptors media is the coolest thing because they're all just kind of this little group who are just fans of these guys because they won a championship and they're such good buddies. That's it. It's a good little fun group.
The Leafs are there's too much money and too many clicks to be had over contrarian viewpoints with the Leafs. And, we're part of that. We're part of that. We are media. We are a Leafs focused, somewhat anyway, podcast, although we'd prefer not to focus on the Leafs most of the time because it's fucking disappointing. But the point I'm trying to make here for Quinn is that in a market this size, you can't have one viewpoint coming from 8 or 9 different media outlets. Everybody's got to have their angle. And so you'll never have, if you're in New York and you're a Giants fan, there's going to be 80 different angles on sports talk radio there. There's going to be on the Jets, if the Jets are even worth talking about that year. It's like you talk about the Yankees, man. They are so hard on the Yankees in New York if they don't win. And I'm not talking about win in the playoffs or win the division. If they don't win the championship, which is something they haven't done in over a decade, if they don't win this year, I encourage you to go and listen. I encourage you to listen to what sports talk radio sounds like in another big market like, LA is a bit different. But in intense markets like Toronto, for their particular sport, you're never going to have one view that is supportive of the team. They'll be supportive of certain moves, but most of the time you're going to get a lot of dissenting voices and a lot of different things. And so, you've seen the press conferences with the Leafs. There's like 40 people there, right? Interviewing each player.
Oh, here's the Toronto media on John Tavares. First of all, it's the first negative piece written about him in 2 years. Second of all, it was one guy.
Who you would expect it from.
Steve Simmons the Toronto media. He's him. He's one guy.
And no one else, you notice, no one else with any sort of intelligent take has said anything bad about Tavares.
You're taking the guy with the most extreme negative take at every turn and calling him just what it is, which is ridiculous.
But, the same thing happens in Edmonton, though, right? It's an intense market, and everybody's got their viewpoint. And if you don't have a viewpoint that sticks out, you will not survive. Remember that this whole coverage of the Leafs or coverage of any team is a game in and of itself, too. It's a game for audience share. And so Steve Simmons, that's his angle. And that's going to be his angle. Eric Francis in Calgary is going to be pro Calgary Flames ownership all the time. Whatever they do, Eric Francis is going to fall over himself and go, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. I can't believe that they haven't given them all the Stanley Cups for the rest of time because they're so brilliant. That's Eric's angle. It works for him.
Not to be confused with Eric Engels.
Yeah. Eric Engels is a guy that will give you the facts. Chris Johnson is a guy that will give you the facts. Elliot Friedman is a guy that will give you the facts. Bob McKenzie, even in retirement, is a guy that will come back online, drop a bomb about Jack Eichel, and then go back to the cottage.
Go right back to margaritas.
But those are the things. It's you got to know what you are. And there are editorialists who, or pundits like us, and then there are people that actually report on that stuff, and you have to know the difference. And no fan base, no team is going to be completely united behind one idea or vision until there's a championship won. Period. Fair?
I mean, Tampa, there was an entire award show dedicated to calling them losers. We had a cast member of Saturday Night Live last year just dunk on them for like 2 hours, and they had to just sit there in their tuxes and deal with it. And then they won the Stanley Cup, and all of a sudden they're winners, and everything they've done is a great idea. which is just reactionary.
The reality is the Toronto core needs to be together longer. They will be. They were signed for that reason, and they're going to have to fail, and they're probably going to fail some more. But they'll hopefully fail less heavily.
Fail deeper in the playoffs.
Yeah, just fail a little bit deeper. Go to the second round. Fail me there. I'm happy there for now.
Well, it's a
second
step.
round would be good.
It's a step.
It's a step. Anyway, that's my answer for that. Jesse, next question.
The next question comes from Bridge Stew 86. Friedman said the Devils are looking to trade their 18th/20th overall pick for a young roster player under 26 years old. The tweet continues to ask about Kerfoot or Janssen, but I'm just going to ask, would you trade for that pick, and who off the Leafs roster would you give up?
If you can get their first-round pick for Janssen, I'd do it.
The Devils' first-round pick, would you trade for it if you're the Leafs, and who are you giving up?
Janssen, if I could.
Imagine the Leafs get the 15th and 18th overall picks for Kapanen and Janssen.
They might even turn it into Kapanen and Janssen.
The mystery box could be anything.
Yeah, what I would do. The reason I would, I'll tell you the reason I would do it. And the pension plan puppets, Katya put out a really good article on this too. You should check that out this week. But the reason I would do that deal is I could take those first two rounders and flip them into the defense that I need.
Yeah,
So you would take the Devils pick
and package
for your
Pittsburgh
forward and then trade it again.
Yeah. You don't necessarily. The Leafs should not pick twice in the first round this year.
I would say you don't need to pick in the first round at all. If you're plucking guys like Robertson out of the second round, you don't need to. I think what you need to do. I mean, listen, I would love for them to have more prospects in the system. Yes, but there's clearly bigger needs than prospects in the Leafs system. The prospects have flourished into great NHL players. Marner, Matthews, Nylander, those are the prospects you needed to succeed, and they did. Fantastic. If you can take those 2 first overall picks and you can flip them for high-end – first-round picks. If you can get an Aaron Ekblad and it's cost you nothing, was it cost you? You're literally at that point, you've traded Kasperi Kapanen and Andreas Janssen for Aaron Ekblad and Phil Pallander. That's the trade. Does that hurt? Does that suck for anyone?
And you're happy with that?
Well, the thing is that you could draft in the first round. The guy could be ready in 4 years. Great. I mean, remember, Liljegren was the 17th. Sandin was the 31st. They're still not in the NHL regularly. That was 2 or 3 years ago.
Do you think European players are going to be valued higher in this draft because we know they're going to play?
Right.
Probably.
CHO, we have no idea what's going on.
Right.
Yeah, I think so. So I would just say, you take that package and you make that happen. And I think Florida would absolutely, would love having picks that, 3 picks in the first round. I think Florida would be all over that.
Yeah.
Steve, are you doing it?
What is the exact deal again?
So it's just the Devils are looking to move their first round pick. If you're the Leafs, are you going to chase after it? Are you going to try and move it? Are you trying to get it?
Has to be a forward under the age of 26. Leafs.
Yeah, that's what they're looking for according to Freak.
And you have a potential 25-goal guy in Janssen.
Yeah, and what we know about the Devils is they love them some Andreas Janssen. It could work, man. It could work. Now, they might be like, it's a little bit. If you got to sweeten that with, you go, okay, Janssen in a third or something like that in order to get the 18th overall pick, because you don't just get the 18th overall pick, you also get the cap space that you then parlay into blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
And you have 3 picks in the third round. So
yeah, I make that deal, man. And Dubas, loves trading down anyway.
Yeah.
It's just Mr. I don't trade down followed by trading down all the time. You crazy goof, Kyle.
Just don't say stuff.
He's got
to learn.
Oof, yeah.
He needs a big old dose of the Lou Lamoriello. I'm going to give you an entire paragraph and say nothing.
Be boring.
The 3 I count, well, the 2 I count on my hands are we're going to sign them. Like the Marner, Matthews.
We can and we will.
We can and we will. And then the one that just happened with Cody Ceci.
Oh, the referendum.
Yeah.
Kyle, you were wrong.
It's just Kyle.
By the way, LeBron tweeted earlier this week that they might circle back with Cody Ceci.
Yeah, he's going to UFA is what the report was, but there's still a chance he re-signs with them.
He wants a raise. He wants a raise. Well, I mean, I would want a raise too. Who doesn't want a raise? You're not going to get a raise.
I mean, you might get a raise.
You're not going to get a raise. You're not going to get a raise.
Oh, 1 minute ago,
what do we have?
Dallas Stars re-signed Andre Sekera.
Oh.
2 years, 1.5.
Dude, honestly, there's a value guy that Edmonton probably could have hung on to.
That's from Matthew DeFranks.
Final question.
Mm-hmm.
Final question comes from Jesse Blake, and it's for Steve Dangle.
Okay.
A couple weeks ago, you have two friends, Adam Wilde and Jesse Blake, who bullied you into going to a doctor to see about your back. Because your back has been nagging you for, how old are you, Steve? 33?
32, freak off.
32 years. So it's been bothering you for 31 years of your life.
Yes.
It's been bothering me since I was 13.
Since carrying this show.
On and off.
Since you put this show on your back.
Yeah. The team on my back, though.
Put this team on my back, though. That's one of the greatest Madden clips of all time.
All time.
Broken
leg.
I do top one of one.
My leg broke.
That was Steve.
Oh, shit. Darren Sharper. I got to watch that the second the show's done.
He put the team on his back, though.
One of the most hardest hitting safeties in the league. I love it. Anyway, what?
So, Steve, you told us you have an update on your back situation that you wanted to share with the class.
So I think this is the definition of not fucking around. So still have my trainer. Actually, I have a session with him in less than an hour. Still have my chiropractor. I went and got x-rays done on my neck, shoulders, and spine. I go see an athletic therapist now. And just yesterday, Adam, prepared for your pants to tighten, I saw an osteopath. And I got to say, I really enjoyed it. But the x-ray update is, so I have a minimal scoliosis, they called it. They said anything that's under 10 degrees is insignificant. So could it add to flare-ups? Maybe. Is it a significant factor in my life? No. But I got degenerative disc disease of the L3, L4, and L4, L5. So basically, I was told it's nothing actually serious. I just need to keep at it with the exercise and make sure I strengthen everything around it, which I was doing a really good job of until Leo was born. And then I stopped it because Leo was born, and I should have done the opposite.
Because now you got to carry Leo everywhere.
Because now I got to carry Leo everywhere, but I didn't have any bloody time. So
it sounds like
get at her.
You have nothing that like a lot of yoga can't solve.
No, yeah, I do need to work on that whole skinny yoga guy thing. But like, it's not serious in that it's not something I require surgery for, but it's serious enough. Like I was feeding Leo, like, because I can't expect my wife to feed him during the night all the time. So I'm like feeding him on my knees because I can't sit. There's a reason I'm doing this show standing. I'm probably never going to do it sitting again because I feel fine now. I could probably sit through the whole show, but
I'm fine. I'm totally fine.
I'm totally fine. But just the price that I have to pay for sitting for 2 hours is not worth it. So I'm just going to stand.
Yeah. I'm actually wondering about that too. I've actually got a better background in the house that is exposed brick, which I think is perfect for brand. Yeah. And I was going to get a stand for my laptop because that's the camera I use. And then hopefully, or maybe just get a better camera. But I need a better background on this. So I'm also going to do the same thing, Steve.
I've been standing for videos lately just because I like the energy more. Like, yeah. I don't know.
So I'm happy to hear you don't need surgery, Stephen.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Me too. Me too. It's just, it just sounds like I got to be careful. And when there's a flare up, it's going to suck for 2 weeks to a month. And then I work around it and just try to get better. It's just everyone I've spoken to, doctor, osteopath, chiropractor, everybody is just like, yeah, it's just kind of shitty. You got to watch out. Yeah, you just got to watch out.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, thanks. I guess. I don't know. I don't know if they would say the same thing if I was a professional athlete, but I am not.
It'd be a little different if you were paid $10 million to play left wing for the Leafs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Whatever, man. It's a bummer. It sucks when I'm going through it, but I'm not really going through it anymore. So,
well, that's good. Happy to hear, Steve.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
All right. Well, on that lovely note, Steve, you can carry yourself to your appointment. We're going to get out of here. By the time
it's in my basement. I video called the guy.
Oh, okay. By the time we talk on Wednesday, the NHL will look completely different.
Yeah, they're
So
going to change the logo.
enjoy this moment because there was going to be a lot of moves in the next 72 hours. We can't wait to break them down with you. And then we're going to do it all over again because obviously Canadian Thanksgiving is next weekend. So we'll be podcasting Monday rather than Sunday. So it'll be we'll be able to have a couple of days after free agency to really let the dust settle, which I love. And then we'll get deep into it. It's going to be a fun show.
Tune in next episode when Brandon Saad becomes a Leaf and Adam's got to backtrack.
We're not training Artemi Panarin for him, so what does it matter?
You don't know that. You don't know that at all.
Stan, actual Leafs GM Bowman.
3-way deal?
Maybe.
Leafs
Listen, I don't hate Brandon Saad on his own. It's not Brandon Saad.
No, I think you do. I think you hate him as a person.
I personally, yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, love you guys. We'll see you later.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.